All right, so welcome to our second meeting of the year for the Wisconsin Tableau User Group. We are glad to have you all here, and we have a fun agenda for you today. We have a bunch of different topics that we're going to be covering. But first, I want to make sure you are all aware of our leadership team here. I'm Jen Shepard. You will be hearing from myself and Tosh primarily today. You also can see the other folks on the meeting, some of whom you will hear from today during our fabulous features part of the agenda. So this is what we'll be covering. Welcome, everybody. As I said, glad to have you. We'll do a brief attendee poll. We love getting to know you and getting you involved and getting you engaged. So we'll do that. We have a couple of updates for you, and then we'll get into our content. So our first presenter, Ojo, will be talking about a couple of really cool extensions. I cannot wait to learn more about how to use these. And then some of us on the leadership team are going to show you some of the features that came out in the last few releases of Tableau that we think are especially helpful and useful that you should be aware of. We're going to cover some tips for going to Tableau conference, whether you're traveling to San Diego or staying local for the virtual portion. And then we will wrap up with telling you about some upcoming events and give away some prizes, as we always do at these meetings. So in terms of those prizes, we're going to be picking 2 of you to be our winners today. So one winner will just be somebody who attended the meeting. So if you're here, congratulations, you're in the drawing. Our other winner will be somebody who has been actively participating. And by that, we mean you've asked a question in the Q&A, or you have made some comments or shared some insights or a dad joke in the chat. Just you've been engaged in the meeting in some way or form. So we're kind of rewarding you with that extra little bit of involvement. So again, everybody in the meeting will be entered for one of the prizes, and if you are an active participant, we'll enter you for the other one. And that'll be drawn at the end of the meeting. All right, so in terms of our upcoming, or I should say general announcements, things that are coming up, this is an initiative that we are trying for this year that we thought you might want to know about. Tammy, tell them about our initiative here.
Sure, yes. If you scan that QR code, it will take you to a very short survey. And by short, it is 2 questions, your name, your email address, to let us know that you are interested in possibly participating in our Viz This segment during the October 2024 meeting. Indicating that you're interested does not mean that you are obligated. So we'll be collecting responses today. And then also during our July meeting. And then we'll be reaching out. The topic is going to be, the data set is going to be a Wisconsin election turnout data set. Nothing partisan about it, totally nonpartisan. It's just data from the Wisconsin Election Commission that has voter turnout results for every election. And we're going to be putting together a data source from that data for you to use. You'll create a viz off of that data, whatever you want to do, however you want to invent it or dream it up. And then we'll have a session at our October meeting where people who are interested in doing so will show off their work. So like I said, the survey is very short. It's just your name and your email address so that I can collect those. And then we'll be in touch with those people who are interested. You're not committing to anything today.
Excellent. That sounds really fun. And you may have noticed our timing on that. This is a bit of an exciting time of year.
Yes.
And very timely data. So please, if you're at all interested, do sign up. I think it'll be fun to see what all the creative things you all can come up with. All right. Also, our usual plug, we would love to hear from more of you. I know some of you attend these meetings regularly. We're glad to have you back. We want to hear from you. If you have been working on something cool that you want to talk about, if you've used an extension that you want to contribute some info to for our ongoing series, that would be great. If it's just a little troubleshooting or a tip or trick that you have, no presentation too small here. We would love to just get more of you involved in these meetings and hear from each other. So if you are interested in presenting something, please reach out to any of us on the leadership team. Go ahead and put that in the chat, or you can email our email address, wisconsin.tug@gmail.com. And we would like to feature some of you in an upcoming meeting. All right, and now it is time for our participation poll. So I'm going to turn this over to Tosh to tell us how to get signed in.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. I'm going to take over the screen.
All yours.
Thank you. All right. All right, can everyone see? I've got the Kahoot up. So you just need the game pin and then to use the QR code. Otherwise, you can just type in kahoot.it. See a few people popping up. I love the characters. I don't know if you're picking that on your own or just get a default character, but they're really fun.
Those are great. We've done Kahoot many a time, and I don't remember ever seeing these fun characters before. That is fabulous.
It must be an upgrade from Kahoot because it automatically gave me that character.
Excellent.
Okay.
Tosh, can you click that hide button at the bottom there? It's kind of in the way of your
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
screen. Thanks. Oh my gosh, that bear with a hat on. I love it.
Love that. All right, 23 people. It's a pretty good amount. I'll give it like 10 more seconds for anyone else who wants to join.
Them blinking at us is especially fun. Okay, we're ready.
It's a little creepy, but it's still cute. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right. So first question, where are you today? I know some of you already put it in the chat, but this is just a general, wanted to see where everyone is logging in from. I'm actually in New Mexico today, so I'm one of the outside of Wisconsin people. All right, let's see. Mostly Madison area, some Milwaukee, some other Wisconsin. 14% outside of Wisconsin. That's actually pretty decent amount for our Wisconsin tugs. So to everyone for joining in and being a part of this. Question 2, which Tableau dashboard extensions have you used before? The quick what if, image map filter, write back, which was from our last meeting, parameter actions, other extensions, or are you not very familiar with extensions, or you just haven't used them a lot before? And like Jen was saying, we'll go through 2 of them today with, let's see, no one has gone through quick what if or image map filter. So Ojo, I think you'll have a pretty good audience of people who are newbies to those. Most people have not used many extensions before. Looks like parameter actions and other extensions are the next 2 big ones. All right, which latest Tableau feature are you most excited to use? Tableau Pulse, metrics layer, which is kind of tied to Tableau Pulse, the AWS marketplace availability now, or Viz navigation for text tables. There's a lot of other new features. These are just the ones in the latest release. All right, Viz navigation for text tables and Tableau Pulse is the next one. Yep, that's a pretty big one. How are you attending Tableau conference this year, 2024? Are you going to be in person in San Diego? Are you going to attend virtually? Are you presenting at the Tableau conference? Or have you not registered yet? Hopefully you. Okay, half of us have not registered yet. Definitely keep an open mind about it. It's a good experience whether you're going in person or virtually. I just included presenting at Tableau conference because I think I heard one person, Brady, you mentioned, is going to be presenting. So just wanted to see.
Yeah, Dan Bolenson that previously presented here has 2 sessions at the Tableau conference.
Awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. So check out Dan if you are going in person or virtually. All right, last question. This ties back to Jen's last slide, but are you interested in presenting at any future Wisconsin TUG meetings? It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We're always open to presenters, and we definitely want to include as many people as would be interested in doing it. So. Okay, that's good. We just wanted to gauge interest and see what people are feeling. It looks like there's a handful at least who would be interested in a panel discussion. So that just gives us some thoughts on what might be good to use for next TUG meeting to include more people. But that is all I have for the Kahoot. Thanks for participating, everyone.
Yeah, I'm pleased it wasn't 100% no, I just want to listen. So if you're at all interested, please, we would love to hear from more of you. This is our community.
Yes.
Thanks, Tosh. That was fun. Okay, I am going to now very briefly share my screen just so we can move on to the next section of our meeting. So we are going to hear from Ojo on 2 of the extensions that you all said you were not familiar with. Like I said earlier, I am also not familiar with these, but the little bit of research I did suggest I might need to add these into my arsenal ASAP. So Ojo is going to give a more thorough introduction. I did just want to point out that he is a former TUG leader as well. We love our TUG leaders, and also founder of Data to Visuals. So Ojo, go ahead and teach us about some extensions.
Thank you, Jen. Thanks for the panel to welcome me and give an opportunity to share and talk about all the things that I prepared for today. And that's the, let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes, we see it. Can you just hide that little button at the bottom, the dialog box? Thank you.
So this QR code will take you to my LinkedIn page, which has more information than this. And I am trying to grow my LinkedIn audience. It also has a handle to my Tableau public. I have some free cycles now, so I thought it's a good time to get back to the data fam community, the work that I've been doing over the 10, 15 years in the Tableau space, data analytics, BI as a whole. I went to engineering, did my engineering, never practiced it. I became a software consultant. I've done a bit of Java in the initial years, and in the last 15 years, it's been all Tableau, BI, data analytics, and you name it. The last 10 years been consulting, average contracts been like 6 months to a year and a half, and Tableau is my true love. I do a little bit of Power BI, but let's not talk about it today. Today, I'm going to talk about, as you might know, the dashboard extensions. We will focus on 2 of the dashboard extensions. One is the quick what if, and the other is the image map filter. I encourage you to give me feedback at the end of the session. Any questions, I'll take it. I'll try to time my deck in a way there's going to be a bit of hands-on. I'm trying to build them from scratch so that we can get an idea of how easy it is to use these. The ones that are on the website, the extensions, this could be a little wordy if you read through it and how to use it, but I'll try to combine all of this information into an easy to understand recording, which is why I thought this could be a great platform, and thank you for doing that. So what is this quick what if extension? So what this section here is trying to say is what would be a good example over here. Let's imagine a world. This is an example that I've built in Tableau, and I can and I will be building this from scratch. Imagine a world that you have, this is our Superstore data set. We have the different ship modes here, and this is the sales dollar value. The blue bar, which is the increase, and I should probably bring in the color legends, but the second bar over here, the reference bar, is the target. When it's blue, it means that my actual value is greater than the target value. How have I set these target values? In a world without extensions, we have to use for each of these 1, 2, 3, and 4 different values of the ship mode. I had to prepare 1, 2, 3, 4 parameters so that the user could interact with them. So say, for example, if I did a 200% increase on my same day, then you see this 388 moved ahead. If I did it at 100%, it would go back to 259. What does this mean? It means that $129,000 is halfway my target because I've set it to an increased percentage of 100%. If I say set my target to the exact 0% increase of my sales dollars, it would be right where the bar is. So imagine a world, I'm trying to draw the use case that, say, for example, you have a business user who wants to understand the sales by ship mode of each of these, the sum of sales. This is the Superstore data set. And you want to compare it with a threshold or a target value. And we are saying, based on my sales in this year, I want to set my target for the next year at a 10% more, a higher value than what it sold this year. So 129 becomes 142. So if imagine here we have only 4 different categories of ship mode. If we had, say, 100 different subcategories, then we'd have to write 100 different parameters to do this. So without an extension, if I were to rebuild this chart, I'd have to write 1, 2, 3, and 4 parameters, right? Where each of these parameters is show parameter. And let me this is an integer type parameter where I had to write value and set it to a -50, right? And if I were to change this to a -20%, you will see the value of the first class move, which is the second bar, which is at a 50% of this. It will move to something that's closer to, because it's a negative value. It's the target is lesser than where I am. And how did I color code it? I'm saying if the sum of my sales is greater than the sum of my increased sales, then that's a Boolean value, and I've used it on color. If it's a little hard to understand, I'm sure this session is getting recorded and I can take questions after. But let me keep the space because I am interested in sharing as much as I can. So this is the world before using extension. 4 different values of ship mode, 4 different parameters, a calculated field that ties in the increased sales. So each of these parameters, same day, first class, that I've written are now in this calculation. Let me blow it up a little bit. And I'm now multiplying the sales with this rate of increase to come up with this increased sales dollars. These increased sales dollars are now a reference line on my chart. Show header, edit reference line. So each of these increased sales is now a target line on this chart. Hopefully everybody is following me. Without this, now, why does the what if extension, why do I love it that much more? Because with a what if extension, the example that we have on top over here, I don't have to write 4 different parameters. All I have to do is write one parameter value, which is string type, edit. Yes. I'm creating a parameter called ship mode increase. It's a string type, and I'm setting a value all. That's all I have to do here. So instead of writing 4 different parameters, I write one. And then I invoke on a new, under this object section, there is called something like an extension. So all I have to do is bring that extension piece over here onto my dashboard. Come on. Okay. This is exactly what happens when you're trying to run a live demo. Okay. Let me close this. So the prerequisites is you have to have a node.js running in the background. I don't think I switched that on. So how do I kill this? Sorry about that. Bear with me.
We've all been there.
I can't even make this go away. All right. What do I do?
Maybe task manager time and just kill your Tableau workbook entirely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, it's come to that.
I can't even find the programs now. Probably because yeah, there you go. And task. Okay. Did nothing. Okay, good. So, all right. Let me reopen it. What if extension? Yeah, I want to build this to show how quick and easy it actually is. Is it doing anything? Probably not. Okay. All right. So this part is gone. So as soon as we drag that extension, the quick what if, it opens a pop-up window where we have to select that parameter, which is the ship mode parameter we created, and then we select on which worksheet it's going to action. So this is this first piece, sales by ship mode, and then I'm selecting the field on which it has to ship mode. All of these 3 things, as soon as I set it, automatically the Tableau extension automatically starts taking care of it. There's options over here on the bottom are slight different flavors, and I will show you momentarily how it is. If I selected a pop-up, it wouldn't show up on the dashboard. So I'll leave it as on the dashboard so that this extension shows up. Then we have inputs to display. I want to show all of them. I could have only selected on in which case, let's look at it soon after, and then save settings. So now, hopefully, it will work. So here, everything that I've done before, I'm going to try and do it over here. Let's say, for example, I want to set my first class, and they are now the other way around. So let me structure this. So standard class is right here on the top. Second class is second. Same day is last. So that way it's easier to follow. So standard class on top. All right. So second class, it's 30% more than what it sold. Let me switch that to minus 20% and watch this go back. Oh boy. Minus 20. There you go. So because I sold more than I should have, and when was the business? When did any business say that, we sold more than we should have? So let's set the target less. So let's switch it back to a 20% extra. So now everything that I'm interacting with my chart through this extension, which was as quick as drag the extension, set the parameter, select the action on the chart on which this action needs to be performed, and then select the field on which we want. So if I were to build a brand new piece and go here just for shits and giggles, we want something that's much more numbered, has more numbers, sales, and I want to create a parameter called customer name. Parameter, right? Create parameter. Yes. It is a string type. Current value is say AARON, and leave it as this. Show parameter, and then I want to see how much investment each of them. Let's organize it by high and low. And now a new dashboard where I have the sheet 3. Throw in the extension. I hope it doesn't break on me now. If it does, then we'd have to do it differently. Come on. All right. Quick what if. And I get to configure it. I select this customer name parameter. Sheet 3 is the on which I will action on, and customer name. On dashboard and all, let's do only selected, and on mark selection, save. Right? So this is now set up. If I were to select Tamara, I can say, okay, do something to Tamara. It's not actioning because we haven't written the calculated field to action on it. So probably we should write that, create a calculated field, and let's say, and the trick over here is to use this formula to have a handle between the parameter for the extension. We have to use this formula, and you will find all of that in a verbiage in the documentation over here. But what it means essentially is, copy this over. I'm going to cheat a little bit, go into my calculation 1 and say sales times that. So this is going to be the increase. Let's name it like so, extension. And then all I got to do is now use this to say increased sales extension, right? Plus sales. So now when I do that, and I have this maybe in the details, maybe not. Maybe we can have a dual axis, right? Okay. How do I do this? So, okay, so tomorrow, let's focus on this. We have 19K and 19K. Synchronize axis. So these plots should be interesting. Wow. And now where is the dashboard here? So if I did an increase by, I'm sorry, it's not behaving as I thought it should, but you get an idea of what I tried to do over here. Let me go back to what is already set. So all I did is now have what if increase. Let me show edit the formula that I've used. I've grabbed that parameter, extension parameter value, and then I wrote up a formula, what if sales, where I've used that formula to say sales times the percentage increase. What if sales by 100? That will give me the increase, and I've added it to my sales value. That way, this bar that you see keeps moving back and forth based on the parameter values that this extension is providing. So if I were to go make this into half of, so my standard sales, standard class, which is at the bottom, this should be right here. The second class right after, same day at the top. So when I say my target is 50% of what actually sold, then this is my target showing up here. If I say increase it by 10% positive, it would it would interact with it. Yeah, there you go. So if I were to summarize the benefit of using a quick what if extension, it would be write less formulas, have less parameters, and then be able to interact with the chart using only one parameter for each of these different values of the dimension. With that, let me move on to the next piece of my presentation. And I will try not to build this because I want to be respectful of the time. Here we have an example. This is the verbiage. And mind you, all these extensions that Tableau Exchange, if you Tableau Exchange, and I will be sharing the deck and the content, you can quickly find dashboard extensions right over here. And how I want to make sure that whatever I'm using does not fail when I publish it, I make sure that I use the Tableau Public, works with Tableau Public checked, free. Some of them are paid, and I haven't used any of the paid ones yet. And I try to use the ones built by Tableau and Salesforce so that I know that these 7 Tableau Exchange free to use are vetted by Tableau and do not introduce any open source bugs, threats, or what have you. So let me go to image map filter example. Here, I can relate to one of the use cases that I had while working for one of the retail brands in US. They had a distribution center, DC, which looked like had a planogram map of it and different sections for different types of data. This image map jungle book will give you an idea of what it is. If you wanted to know where these animals are on a complex image, you can do so. That's the benefit of using an image map filter. The example that I have ready for you talks about the world without. So this piece is without an image map filter, and one above is with an image map filter. And if I were to use an image map, so this is one, I built this as an image. I took a screenshot of it, but imagine this could be a much more complex image like the jungle example over here, or it could be a much more complex. But essentially what you could do by using this is have, let me close this down. Yeah, is use the image map filter as an image and then have any of these sections respond to a user choice. And this is very easy to do. Once you drag again, on a dashboard, these are, let me show you what this is. This is the top 10 customers by sales for each of the categories. So I brought in the customer name. I have the sum of sales over here. Each dollar value is the sum of sales. And then I went and filtered the top 10 by sales of these, right? Of the customers, only the top 10, just to make it a cleaner chart. And over here, this is a trend over the months of order date. Our data source is Sample Superstore, and I have this filter category in both of these charts. This is a must-have to use the image map extension. Is once you pick an image, you configure. Once you drag that extension, you have to configure it. You select which image you want to choose. You can choose that, any one of your images. And then you have to decide which dimension it's going to action on. So here we have the categories, the different categories. And I'm going to action on the top two charts, which is the top 10 customers and the monthly sales trend. As soon as I do that, what I have to do is I have to now draw a boundary around it and say on which category. So this is going to be my technology category. I click OK. For this one, this is going to be my office supplies category. So I define the category that each of these images will have to action on, and the last one being my furniture category. As soon as I do it, I use this filter option, and now when I click on each of them, it filters on technology. Last one is furniture, office supplies. And this is how we use the image map filter. In a world before image map filters were available, we could have done this using, it is possible to do. This is an example. What I've done is I've used custom shapes to my 3 sections of the categories over here. I've used them, downloaded these icons from the web, and I've put them in my custom icons, and I've used them. As soon as I do it, I use this action filter. Similar charts I have. I've written a dashboard action that as soon as I click on, when it comes up, come on. Soon as I click on, my category icon, it actions on when I select any of the images in the category icon, it should filter down the values in the monthly sales and the top 10 customers by sales charts. And when I clear the section, it should show all values. So this is the alternative, but having an extension makes my job that much easier, because imagine this was a much more complex image. that would require each of these finer zones to be selected, then that would be that much easier to do using these extensions. So thank you. I have come to an end of what I wanted to share. Let me stop sharing and take questions if you have any.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ojo. Yes, we do have a few questions in the Q&A. So one is that you mentioned that the quick what if does work with Tableau Public. What about the image map filter? Does that one work with in Tableau Public as well?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. All right. And then to your knowledge, are all of these extensions, or at least the ones you've showed today, compatible with Tableau Server?
So I haven't checked it on, but if it says Tableau Public, I'm 100% confident that they should be. I haven't got a chance to do it at work. I've used it only for demonstration purposes, so I wouldn't have the answer to that.
Okay. And then we have a comment that this was an effective demonstration, and we've got somebody excited about being able to use these, but some potential concerns about being in a government environment. Do you have any advice to offer in terms of the data security? I know some of the extensions are sandboxed. Just anything you want to contribute to that in terms of organizations being concerned about using a publicly created extension?
Based on what I've heard and what I've seen, the ones which have been, and let me share my screen real quick. When we, okay, let me know when you can see my screen, share screen. So as I'd mentioned, I have greater confidence when I go to dashboard extensions. The moment I say build by Tableau and Salesforce and works with, as soon as I have these stickers selected, any of these 7 should be working on public and should not have any open source threads, because Salesforce wants to build quality products that are, so if you're feeling confident in using any of the Tableau platform or Tableau public Tableau platform products, I would feel that the build quality of any of these extensions would be at par, and there would be no reason to fret. However, every Salesforce major installation have a customer success manager. It would be best to go through them to vet on that. If that answers the question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I will add that I also do contracting for a state agency, and there were some hurdles to get through in terms of having extensions whitelisted, but that can be achievable. We were able to get some vetted and approved. So I know that there are at least one extension available on the Tableau server for the state.
Absolutely.
And then, yeah, just a couple more, and then we'll move on here. Question, you had mentioned that Node is needed to be running in order for, I think it was the first one, the quick what if, to work. Does that apply even if you're publishing these to Tableau server?
I believe so. I hadn't got a chance to use what if on any of my actual projects, but I believe the Tableau server installation, if it's an on-prem, if it's not Tableau Cloud, then it might have to be installed by the Tableau admins.
Okay. And then final question, if you're not using the extension, where do you store your images?
Good question. Most of my images, I put it in, this is the My Tableau under the documents. There is, it's my style of doing it. Some people put it local and then package it into TWBX and upload. That way it bundles up the images as well as any external data sources. But if you were to ask me, I would go under documents, My Tableau, repository, and under them I have shapes. Under shapes, I can create a folder called custom icons. I can create as many folders for custom shapes. I usually put these images over there. That way I can reuse them as icons or what have you.
Yes, +1 for the shapes repository. That's what I do as well.
Thank you.
All right. And then, sorry, one last question we had come in just a minute ago. Is there any type of optimization function or extension like a linear programming?
I didn't get that question. Sorry, what's that?
The question is, is there any type of optimization function or extension like linear programming?
I'm yet to use it. I'm sorry, I don't have the answer.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ojo. We really appreciate it. Feel free to hang out for the rest of our meeting if you would like, but I'm going to turn it over to Tash to move on to our next part of our agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks for that, Ojo. All right. So for the next part of our meeting, oh no, it's going to make me go all the way through. I'm going to catch up to where we were already. We are talking about some of the latest Tableau features. So not necessarily the last update of Tableau, which is 2024.1, but just some of the newer ones. So we're going to start with Tableau prep improvements, and then we'll try to get through all of them and just talk for a little bit on each of them to introduce everyone to some features, just in case you aren't familiar with any of these or just want to have a better understanding of them. We want you to be able to use them because a lot of these could be good use cases. So we'll start with Tableau prep improvements with Brady and then move on from there. So Brady, I'll let you take over the screen.
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. I have two Tableau prep improvements that they launched recently that I wanted to go through, that are two things I'm looking forward to that it can help me in my day-to-day life, as I use prep quite often. Is the two things are ability to automatically identify duplicate prep rows. Previously, I'd been making aggregates and a bunch of different steps to find this. Now it's just a button. I'll show you what it looks like. And then being able to select header and start row of data when you're bringing in Excel or CSV files. So what that means is I've had files before where you get the formatted and there's a header in the first few rows that are all merged in center, and then maybe the data doesn't start at right there either. So I would previously have to go in, delete all this area here, delete the blank spaces, because otherwise Tableau is just not going to understand it correctly. So now with the updated prep steps, you can, when you're bringing in an Excel file, this is the Superstore example prep flow, you can, instead of having the header being automatic where you start it, you can set the header, and then you can set it at which row the header starts and which row the data starts. So this helps remove any work of, if you get a formatted report and you're able to find category the header starts on row 6 and the data starts on row 9, you can put that in Tableau instead of having to delete and change the Excel file every time, which I've done many times before. And then the other item is pretty simple now. So before identifying duplicate rows, I would make aggregates, go off to the side and do different testing. Now it's as simple as clicking a button, and it gives you a flow, is a duplicate row. In this Superstore data, there's a bunch of examples of duplicate data. Now, this is transactions, so there could be just same transactions in the same day that are for the same amount, but these are things to review for sure. When you hit initially, it will grab every single field in the data set and then check to see if there's any matching duplicates. And while this loads, it's going to show, is a duplicate yes or no, and then the ones that come up as a yes, those would be the ones you'd want to review for. So we see unique or duplicate. So unique, that's good, but anything that 39% of the data is marked as a duplicate. So you might want to take a look in here and see if there's things that need to be changed. Maybe the data quality is bad. Maybe you have a bad join. All those are things to review. But those are my two Tableau prep improvements that I wanted to share.
Awesome. Thanks, Brady. Next up, we're going to be talking about dynamic axis titles and ranges with Tiffany.
All right. Thank you. Let me share my screen. Jen, I almost hit stop recording instead of share screen. That would have been tragic.
At least it was almost.
Yes. Okay, can everyone see my Tableau workbook?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm actually going to be talking about dynamic axis titles, not necessarily ranges, but dynamic axis titles anyway was a new feature in Tableau 2023.1. So some of us are possibly on that version, some of us not. So I find this exciting. My company is going to be upgrading to a version that has this soon. So that's very exciting. So I'm doing this in Tableau Public right now. But for dynamic axis titles to work properly, it's best if data is arranged in a pivot fashion. So what I did to prep this data, and this is something a Workout Wednesday exercise that I adapted. And this data source is a rugby Super League data source. And full disclosure, I know nothing about rugby. So my apologies in advance if I offend anyone by speaking wrongly about things that happen in rugby. But the data source was very wide with all of the different kinds of tasks in rugby. So clean break, drop goals, errors, 40-20s, kicks in general play. All those things were all the way across the data set. So in order to make the dynamic axis titles work, we pivot them. So it just creates a longer, a more vertical data set than a more horizontal one. So I created a pivot table from those measures and then renamed the measures and the value. So we basically need to build a basic scatter plot in order to do these dynamic axis titles the way we want to show them. So we need two parameters to control the selection of the measures that we want to display in the scatter plot. So we basically just set up two parameters. We do one, we call it P measure 1, and we'll just start with the meters value of the meters measure, and we would set it up this way, and then we would create another parameter exactly like this one, but default the current value to tackles. So then we have two parameters that are set up. To determine the value, to plot the axes based on the selections from the parameters, we need two more calculations. We need an x-axis value and a y-axis value. And basically, it just points to if the parameter equals the measure, then show that value. I did find that things went a little bit wonky when the measure value was 0. So I just have this if statement in here that takes all of the the measure values that are 0 out of the equation. So basically, we just add x-axis to columns, the y-axis to rows. We add the team name, which is the name, team name to rows, and then the name to detail, which gives us a basic scatter plot. I did some formatting I changed the mark type to circle, reduced the capacity, added a gray border, all that fun kind of formatting stuff. Then the size of the circle in the scatter plot is directly relative to the number of games played. So we just set up a calculation that does a count distinct on the game ID to get the count games, and we adjust the tooltip so that it references the parameters and the other relevant fields that we will want later. Then we want to change the axis titles. We want the axis titles to always show the parameter that we've chosen for the axis title. So we just go into edit axis, and we go to this custom dropdown and choose P measure 1, and we do the exact same thing on the y-axis, but we check P measure 2. So those were the 2 parameters. So this is what it's going to look like after we put the count games on size. This is what our scatter plot now looks like. Moving along to, we need to define which row and column the team name should sit in. So we know we have only 12 teams to work with, and that number is static. The data set isn't going to change. And we know that we're working with a 3x4 grid. I should say this was a workout Wednesday exercise, and so the exercise was to recreate this thing, and it had all the teams in a 3x4 grid. So I should probably specify that. So I hard coded this a bit rather than using any more dynamic calculations, because I knew that this 3x4 grid wasn't going to change. So I just needed 3 calculations. I needed one index that would assign an index number to all 12 teams. I needed a row calculation that would create basically 4 rows. So it would take the first 3 and then the next 3 and the next 3 and the next 3 to create the rows, and then the columns would just -1 from the index but stop at 3. So basically you end up with this grid that has the index, the row, the columns, that's going to put things in a 12 by 12 square. So this is just a visual to show what that grid is going to look like. It doesn't really have anything to do with the finished viz. But we go back to the scatter plot sheet. We add row to rows as a blue discrete pill. We add column to columns as a discrete pill, and we move team name over to detail. Then we need to modify the calculation settings of both the row and the column pills. And we do that by doing edit table calculation. And we use specific dimensions, and we make sure that the team name is on top and the other name is on the bottom. We can move those around, and it will change things, but I want to move fastly. I want to move quickly, so I don't want to do that. And at the level of the team name, and I feel like I'm doing speed tipping, I do have a blog post that will explain this in a little more detail. We hide the column and the row pills, so that so I'll back up just a second. So we have all of these rows. We have the column header, the row header. We just do, we unselect show header so that it takes those away. And then we have a little more cleanly of a 4x3 grid for the final product. We need to create one more field or one more calculation that is going to give us our team names on this viz. And so we are going to call that the reference line, and simple window max calculation. And adding this calculation to the row shelf will create a second marks card. On the reference line marks card, we remove the pill from the size shelf, and we change the mark type to Gantt bar. We reduce the size to the smallest possible, set the opacity to 0, and border to none. And then we add team name to the label shelf, and we go into the label box, and we set the label to min max values by the sum x's value field, x's value field, and we label the minimum value only. So by doing this, each team name should only be displayed once, which we can see. We have all 12 teams represented in kind of a little messy format. So then we edit the tooltip of this reference line card to edit the tooltip to delete all the text so that nothing shows. And then we're going to make the chart a dual axis and synchronize the axis, and it looks much cleaner this way. We're going to remove the measure names from the all marks card, which I already did. I took those out, and hide the right-hand axis. So now is where the fun begins. Now we can build our dashboard, and we have these parameters that are going to determine the axis title. So I dropped my viz onto a dashboard, and I showed the two parameter measures. So parameter measure P measure 1 and P measure 2. I played around with my title. I had to just create the text that I wanted around the parameters. So I just played around with it, just adding spaces and taking away spaces until I got what I wanted. And then once I had those spaces set up, I moved my parameters into the title, and we have dynamic access titles. We can change whatever we want to on these two axis titles, and it will change the X and the Y axis. So I can literally move it around anything I want to, and it's going to change the dynamic axis titles as I go. So a little bit of work to get there, but it's pretty fascinating once you get there.
That was great. Thank you, Tammy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Wow, that was a lot of goodness there.
So I'm willing to share the blog post that I took this from, and I can, my viz is out on Tableau Public, so we can include that in the recap.
Thank you.
That would be awesome. Yeah. I know we did get one question, so we can maybe save it for later, but don't forget to ask questions in the Q&A. So thank you for participating. And Jen, I'll let you get started. Jen's going to present on replacing data sources per sheet and proper case.
Yes, thanks, Tash. Oh my goodness, proper case. I was so excited when this came out. I don't know about you all, but some of the data sources I have to work with, the titles for things are all over the place. So I made up this mess, I call it my messy names, just some examples of the types of various dimension members that you might have to deal with too. Sometimes everything is in all caps, which is maybe fine for the data warehouse, but looks a little shouty when someone's trying to filter something or see it in their title. Or sometimes it's all lowercase, or we had to convert it to lowercase because things were mixed case. Sometimes there's no capitalization in the right places. It's all in the wrong places. So definitely have had some of these messy names to work with. And previously, in order to make these look nice and streamlined, you had to jump through a lot of hoops with calculations, maybe even regular expressions to get them to look good. But with the new proper case, which came out in version 2022.4, it is ridiculously easy. So all you need is to take your messy field, in my case, my field's called messy name, and just wrap it in this proper function. That's it. And then if I bring this out into my view so we can see how it did a great job. So there's a couple of things I chose these examples on purpose because there are a couple that maybe aren't exactly what you're looking for, but for the most part, it really handles it well. So you see the lowercase Monona, put a nice capital M on there, took Ojo's name, capitalized both words. That's all great. If it's already in proper case, no change occurred, like with Adams County. But a couple of things to look out for. So if you have something like a course name, AP Algebra, or you've got some initials that you wanted to stay capitalized, the proper case doesn't know that. So it did turn my prefix of AP into uppercase A, lowercase p, which is not what I would want. Or if you've got a name like McDougall, maybe you're plotting Scottish ancestry or something, and you've got all the McGillicuddies and McDoodles and whatever, it's not going to know that you probably want a capital D after the C. That's just a little too specific. And depending on the way you have titles, there might be some words in there that you maybe didn't want capitalized. It's just going to capitalize everything. So what I do in these situations, if the proper case got me 90% of the way there, I'll just go in and alias those couple of labels that weren't quite right, but it did the hard work for me. And this has been a great feature and has saved me so much time. So that's an awesome one. The other tip I have for you is to be able to swap data sources at the sheet level. So I have had plenty of experiences where I'm borrowing something from another workbook and I want to bring it in, and then maybe I've already got a data source in there that will work. And previously it was convoluted to try to only apply the data to just the one sheet. You'd either have to build those separately or anyway, I know we're short on time. So it was a hassle before. Maybe you couldn't even do it. And now it is also very, very, very easy. So maybe I have this workbook already built and I've got some things in here that I like, but I want to bring in a couple of vizzes I built elsewhere. So I just open up my second and grab one or more sheets. So this is actually the same data source. I just called it something different for this example. So maybe I bring these I'm selecting these two. All I have to do is click copy. And then over in my other workbook, down here in this footer area, I just right click and put in paste. And it brings in my 2 sheets with their data. So now I've got this additional data source, the other Superstore. And if I want to switch it so everything that's using Superstore data is using the same source, it's really easy to do that sheet by sheet. So right now I'm on copied sheet 1. So I can just right click this other Superstore and go down to replace data source. And it will give me the data sources in my workbook. So it's already recognizing sample Superstore. So I can either replace everything, or this is the new part. It's just this little checkbox that says replace it for this worksheet only. And so if I only wanted this view to use this other data source and not the other one, even though I brought 2 sheets in, I can do them one at a time like this. And I just say yes, and it switches it over. You'll see that, I don't know if it was pretty quick, but this blue check mark moved from the other Superstore up to here when it switched. And it's that simple. If you switch over everything and you don't need this other source anymore, I would recommend you go ahead and close that once you're done with it, so you don't have a data source sitting there that's unused. That's a good performance tip, but the switching is incredibly easy, and I have used that so many times since that came out, also in 2022.4. Over to you, Tosh.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. I know we are short on time. We did have some really good questions come in. So definitely Brady and Jen, take a look at those if you're able to. Just in general about Tableau prep. It sounds like some people are interested in using it, maybe haven't used it as much before, and are also looking to know like what kind of formulas might be available. So good questions all around. I'm going to go ahead and keep moving forward, though. We just have one more topic left on this new features part. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about this for like 2 minutes, but the Tableau Pulse is the newest feature in the 2024.1 release. Essentially, anyone has it if they have Tableau online. So I'm in my company's portal right now, and we already have the Tableau Pulse tab available to click on. So if you have Tableau online or your company uses it, you should actually automatically just have it. I think it's been a little bit since they added this in. So I just click on it. When you click on the tab, you don't automatically have like a Pulse update. You have to make it. So the best way for me to very briefly explain what Tableau Pulse is think of it as an addition to your dashboards in terms of generating AI. So when you create dashboards and you share them to anyone in your company or whoever's following your dashboards, sometimes it is easiest to just create KPIs within your dashboard, key performance indicators, that give like really quick answers to questions that people are asking more often. So in this case, like I'm using sample Superstore data here. Sales company or sales department is looking at profit over time. Within your dashboard, you might have to create a KPI to give your business users those quick answers. But with Tableau Pulse, what you can do is directly from the data source, you can create basically, I mean, I'm calling this a KPI. You can create it so you associate your fields in the data source to some like really important metrics like this. And all people have to do is, instead of going to dashboards and looking through them to find answers that they want, they can just go to that Tableau Pulse tab. And once the metric definitions are created and you choose to follow those metric definitions, they'll appear right on your screen. So again, that is very, very brief. I was going to show some more of like how to create the metric definition and how to follow it, but in a future tug, we'd like to have someone from Tableau actually come on and talk through setting up Tableau Pulse, explain, some of the infrastructure behind it. It is really interesting if you have a chance to access it and just take a look at it. This is basically the start of Tableau AI, where you get to see some, like, in one sentence, what is this chart saying? That's basically what it's doing. So I hope that was helpful. I know it was quick, but that's just the latest feature. So we wanted to touch on it so people were aware that it is available and you can look into it more. All right. So with that wraps up our latest features for Tableau. I know we're coming down to the last 15 minutes or so of our meeting, so we wanted to end with talking about Tableau Conference, what to know before you go. So if you weren't aware already, Tableau Conference is happening April 29 to May 1st. And then Jen, I see you added in a group promo special, which is awesome.
Yeah. Discount for you all if you haven't registered yet, or I've heard that they will apply it retroactively if you have registered. You just have to call their support line. So get you a discount.
So definitely use this. I believe our slide deck will go out. So take a picture of it now if you want to use this. Otherwise, it'll come back around. All right, so Tableau Conference, the data event of the year, is headed to San Diego. So I think Tableau Conference was in San Diego once before. It's been in Las Vegas a lot, so they're bringing it back to San Diego. If you have not been to Tableau Conference before, there's a ton of events. They basically jam-pack 3 days full of data Tableau-driven events for everyone attending to go to. Iron Viz is that first one that you see. It's basically a competition of dashboarding. It's really exciting to be there in person, to be a part of it. I won't go through this whole list, but basically sessions where people can help you out with specific problems that you're having in Tableau. There's a lot of different networking events, different training sessions that you can do. Data night out is their fun night out after, I think, the second day, where they just have a bunch of fun vendors available for anyone attending. So it's really a very filled 3 days. So definitely consider or look into it if you haven't thought of it before, or if you have been, go again. Know before you go. So if you go in person, some things to know now. Research your sessions ahead of time. I think it's first come, first serve is what I've heard before. So you want to make sure to get to the rooms or the sessions that you're going to as soon as you can. You can also favorite sessions to show that you're interested in attending them. What to wear and bring. So a lot of people just wear jeans actually and data shirts. So business casual is more than okay, or casual, comfortable walking shoes for sure. You do a lot of walking throughout the whole event.
Oh no, we lost Josh abruptly. Okay, hang on. It's all right. I got the deck here. I will share my screen real quick. Yes, lots and lots of walking. Cannot overemphasize enough how important the walking shoe piece of that is. Sorry, just got to get to the right slide. Okay. Something to take notes on, always helpful. You're going to learn some good information, and you might tell yourself you're going to remember it, but you probably won't. I found that most speakers are very comfortable to let you take pictures of their slides as well, which can be really helpful if you just want to remember a quick concept. And then environmentally friendly, bring a beverage cup. It's really helpful to stock up on coffee or water throughout the day. Some of the sessions that we definitely recommend, Iron Viz is so exciting in person. It's also really fun live. That's just incredible to watch people build something so quickly. The hands-on sessions are always my favorite. I feel like I'm getting something that I couldn't just get from a webinar, for example. There's a trainer there teaching me how to do something. Last year and this year, they've done what they're called a true to the core session. This is something they brought over from their Salesforce practices, where the leaders sit on stage, or at least sit in front of everybody, and answer difficult questions. They are trying to be responsive and hear what their customers care about. And that's the opportunity to tell them what we're concerned about. So that's really a really good session. I'm pretty sure that one's going to be live as well. As Tosh said, data night out's lots of fun. Community meetups, there's many of them this year. They're really trying to emphasize people being part of a community. You all are here, so you already have us as your community, but there are also sector specific meetups and just interest. So you can keep an eye out for those. And then last couple of tips here, there will be an app that will help you keep track of when things are happening. If you can get there early and get your badge ahead of time, that will save you a lot of waiting in line on Monday morning. If there are certain things you want to buy from the store, go day one. They do sell out of product. So I would encourage you to get there early. And then whether you're attending in person or not, there will be lots of posts on various social media sites using that tag Data24, so you can see photos or what other people recommend and just feel like you're a part of it, which is great. Tosh, I see you made it back. I jumped in. I wasn't sure if you were going to be blocked out for good or what.
I didn't even realize I cut out either. And then your audio came through that I cut out, and I was like, oh, I've been talking to no one, I guess.
It's all right. Thankfully, I have the slide deck still up. So this is just a quick snapshot of the agenda, what's happening on what day, subject to change. But I like to see it visually, right? We're all data people, so I enjoy seeing things kind of laid out in this format. I just find it helpful to sort of organize my day. And then Tasha, if you want to take it back over for virtual attendance.
Yeah, definitely. Virtual attendance. Okay, so first thing, block your calendars. I have attended virtually in the past, and the easiest thing to do is to accept meetings as they come in during the week, and then you miss out on the whole conference. So plan ahead. If there's sessions that you really want to be a part of, just block your calendar so that you can make it. And same as attending in person, research ahead of time so you know which sessions you'd like to attend. Wear whatever you want to wear because you're attending virtually, probably in your home.
Recommend data shirts. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to go through your Tableau collection if you have one.
Yes. Host an internal watch party. Yep, definitely for Iron Viz. That actually would be a lot of fun to do. And then don't miss, again, Iron Viz. The keynote address is on day 2 of 3. And then the Flairledge twins have a virtual session. That's awesome. I didn't even know that yet. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, it was super popular last year. So they've already booked them to have their session recorded and shared live, or maybe not live, but at least virtual. So I highly recommend that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. And then other than that, social media tag, hashtag Data24. I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot of pictures and videos of people attending. And yes, previous years used Slack. I don't know if it's set up yet, but maybe it will be.
Hopeful. Yeah, hopeful, because that was nice to have live conversations with people.
Mm-hmm. How to attend. So you can just use that QR code if you want to be taken right to the website to register for it. Again, in person is in San Diego. You can stay Thursday and Friday as well if you want to do the extra Tableau bootcamp. And don't forget to use the promo code that was earlier in the deck. And then virtually, registration is free. So that's awesome. So you have no reason to not attend.
Yeah, you do need to register, though, to get access to those live sessions. So a little planning ahead would be advised.
Yes. Okay, other upcoming events. So let's see, Milwaukee Tableau user group. We don't have that date yet, but it will likely be in May. Should be in May. Madison Tug is June 20th, so put that in your calendars. And our next Wisconsin Tug virtually is July 16th. So add that to your calendars as well. And then some other data-related events. So on April 24th is the Snowflake user group. Snowflake is like cloud data warehousing, data lake, if you're not familiar with it. April 26th is the Data Book Club, which Brandy Beals, one of our leads here, will be hosting. So definitely check that out, especially if you love to read books and you love data. And then June 6th is the Alteryx user group. So Alteryx is similar to Tableau Prep, if you're not familiar with Alteryx. It's just a little bit more robust, a little bit more specified in data engineering. So add all three of those to your calendars.
Yeah, we can give you the links as well so that you can register for those if you're interested. We'll put those in the chat and also in our wrap-up email.
And then one last time, so if you didn't get it at the beginning of the meeting, scan this QR code, fill out a very, very short 2-question survey. We're looking for anyone interested in participating in VizThis. So this is going to be Wisconsin election turnout data. Tammy, I'll let you add any other important notes for what people should know if they gauge interest in participating in this. If you're there, Tammy.
She wasn't expecting to be called on again.
I know, I called her out.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. Sorry. Yeah, so we have 3 people already who have indicated an interest. So very exciting. Yeah. So we'll be reaching out to people. Again, it is not, you're not committing to anything at this point. Once we tell you what is all involved, if you decide it's not for you, you'll be able to opt out, no problem. But it is, again, the data source will be some form of Wisconsin election turnout data.
Fantastic. Can't wait to see all the fun vizzes. All right, and now our very exciting moment. We're going to give away some prizes. I have been trying to keep up with all of your great questions and comments. Thank you for so much for engaging with us today. I have a couple of names I need to add to that list, but I do have our attendee list ready to go. So this was just everybody who checked in, at least as of about 15 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. And oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited. I found this prize wheel. So I'm going to put in the updated list and I'm going to shuffle it. All right, here we go. Here we go. Oh, it's making little noises. You probably can't hear that, but it sounds like the wheel on Wheel of Fortune or something. And Wendy. Oh, there's applause and confetti. How fun is that? Okay, Wendy, either drop your email in the chat or if you'd be more comfortable, please send me a direct message. We do need to get these prizes ordered today if at all possible. So put your info in there and I will reach out to you after this meeting to get you our prize options. Okay, so then for our other list, I want to make sure we get everybody included here. So let's see here. I saw Michael. No. Should I get your name right? Okay. Whoops, I spelled your name wrong. It's you. Apologies. Got Joseph. No, I do not have Joseph. Okay. I think that was everybody. Dawn, are you on here? Oh my goodness. So much participation. One more. Dawn. Everyone's going to quickly write a comment, right? That's it. Sorry. Here's our list. And back to my fun prize wheel. I love this thing. We're doing this every meeting. Delete. There we go. All right, here's my new names. Shuffle those up. And Jen McElroy. Congratulations. So again, give us your email address either in the chat or you can send me a direct message and we'll follow up immediately to get you your prize. And that is our meeting for today. Thank you all for joining us. hopefully you learned something useful, thought of some use cases for some of these features and or extensions, and we will see you back here in July.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, everyone. Thanks for attending.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everyone.